Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm gonna find out how Ruben Amorim has evolved through the years. With the boring international break going on for over 1 week, I've decided to get my football fix from watching football from 5 years ago where Ruben Amorim was the manager of Sporting Braga. The mission? To see whether there have been any significant changes in his tactics or philosophies from 5 years ago compared to now. But before I start, I want you all to think of one manager. It could be your favourite manager of all time, it could be the current manager of your favourite team, or it could just be any random manager, the first manager that you thought of on the top of your head. Once you have that manager, I want you to have a quick think about how many times over the past 5 years that manager has either changed their tactical philosophy, the style of play, or even just the formation. Let me know in the comments who you've chosen and what changes you think have been made, because I'm really interested to hear it. With that in mind, let's look at Amorim 5 years ago. The first game I decided to watch was Amorim's first ever game in charge of Braga. 4th of January 2020, nearly 6 years ago. Surely a lot has changed since then. Surely! Honestly, no. The 3-4-3 is of course in use, but the style of play is also incredibly similar. I want you to check out this passage of play. The CM receives the ball from one of the number 10s and he immediately switches to the other flank where the wingback has gone high and wide up the pitch, creating a 1v1 against the opposition fullback. Trincao makes the run in behind and gets the cross in. That was textbook Ruben Amorim, right out of the current day blueprint at Manchester United. In fact, if you squint your eyes and watch the game, you'll easily be able to pretend you're watching Manchester United and not Braga. The shape is as well incredibly similar, if not exactly the same. Here, you'll note the 3 centre-backs, the 2 wing-backs going wide and further up the pitch, one of the CMs further forward than the other, and the 2 10s supporting the striker. Again, squint your eyes and tell me that isn't Bruno, Mbuemo, Cunha, Sesko, etc. The game actually ends 7-1 to Ruben Amorim's side, so you can't actually complain that much. The fact is the system, the philosophy of the formation, the play patterns, they all do work, and Amorim's history is proof of this. But I'm looking for something different here. I want to start seeing some clear development and changes. So what I did was I went to watch Braga's game against FC Porto in the domestic cup final, which would become Braga's first trophy in 4 years. Maybe on this occasion, Amorim changed up his formation, changed up his style of play to suit Porto, one of the Portugal's biggest teams. The match starts, and here you can see immediately a similar shape can be noticed, with the back 5 defensive shape. However, as the game progresses, you can start to see some changes in the patterns and style of play. The first thing I notice is that, much like today, when the centre-backs have the ball, the pitch is stretched. The wing-backs have gone wide, the 2 CMs are options for shorter passes, and there are large gaps in the midfield area. The big difference is, today we see 2 number 10s behind the striker, but in this game, the players are playing much higher, much more like traditional wingers. Today, we often see the 2 CMs and the 2 10s creating a box midfield, as you can see here. However, that was not the case in this game. With that said, box midfields are a huge current trend in football nowadays, so this might be a more sign of the times type change, rather than a huge shift in Amorim's system. However, one thing's for sure, the system in this game definitely uses wingers instead of 2 10s, and is more of a traditional 3-4-3 instead of the current 3-4-2-1 we see today. You can see here, the 2 wide players highlighted are more or less in line with the striker instead of dropping deeper to become 2 10s. The width of the wingers is also key, and you can see it in the screenshot here. The distance between the 2 wingers basically spans the width of the pitch, which is rare to find in Amorim's Man United team of today. This is a huge difference, as at Manchester United, the responsibility to create width is with the wing backs, and the onus is on them to create something from out wide. This has been a bit of a failure for Amorim at Manchester United so far, as the wing backs are pretty poor. Ahmed is the only one consistently capable of creating things from out wide, with Dalot, Mazraoui and Dorgu proving to be more than less effective there. In this game against Porto though, the wingers are playing much wider and higher, and there was much less reliance on the wing backs there. This meant that this Braga team looked much more dangerous with the ball out wide than the current Manchester United team does, because obviously wingers are more effective attackers than players like Dalot, who are naturally fullbacks. This also opens up a key difference in the build-up play, as balls over the top for the wingers to run onto are often utilised. Today, we rarely see balls over the top for the front three to run onto. It's more directly to the man to win the aerial duel. With the two pacey wingers playing off the opposition fullbacks, high lines are much more vulnerable, and this Braga team took advantage of that. Now this one might seem superficial, but I found it really interesting to see that Ruben Amorim sat down in the dugout for most of the time in both of these games. Currently at Manchester United, he's always in the technical area, often pretty much on the pitch, pointing and shouting instructions throughout the whole game, which honestly begs the question, is the Manchester United team just full of absolute idiots that needs to be micromanaged in order to play the game the way Amorim wants? He didn't feel the need to do that at Braga. Literally, in his first game for Braga, he got the team playing in the same patterns you see today at Manchester United. I don't know. It does make you think. Or maybe Amorim has been the one who's changed over the years and he just feels the need to be on the side of the pitch shouting the whole time. But there you have it. Superficial stuff aside, in the Porto game we definitely saw some tactical changes from Amorim. It's showing what I've been saying for the longest time. Although the shape, system and patterns more or less remain the same, Amorim usually does change something tactically every single game, even if they're not often noticeable. The question is, why has this system proved so successful in Portugal, but he has struggled with it so badly in the Premier League? Well, after watching the games, I can say for sure that obviously the quality of player in the Portuguese league is, respectfully, a lot less than in the Premier League. The Portuguese team seems to struggle a lot with Amorim's high pressing and general intensity of the game, and they struggle to deal with the direct balls as well. Now, these are both quite understandable, as the players at the very top level are more consistent and composed compared to what can be found elsewhere. Consistency is arguably the #1 difference between a good player and a great player, and Amorim's system definitely exploits teams with players that can become flustered and can lose their consistency when under pressure. However, this can't be done as much in the Premier League. So what do you think? How do these developments or changes from Amorim compare to the manager that you thought of in the beginning of the video? Do you think it's insane that apart from the one game against Porto, the same patterns of play, the same tactics, and the same blueprint from 5 years ago is still being used today? Or is it possibly a good thing? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing, as it would really help the channel. Cheers!